What is going on, guys? Matt Downs with Daily Grind Fantasy Sports here to give you the edge for this Week 4 first look on Draftkings. Cannot wait to break it down. If you guys are brand new to this channel, we provide both free and paid content for all daily fantasy sports across all sports. If you could please show your support by hitting that subscribe button, notification bell, and of course smashing that like button for all of our future NFL content. If you would like to know more about becoming a better DFS player and taking down that big GPP, head over to www.dgfantasy.com. On dgfantasy.com, we give you cheat sheets for every major sport, along with ownership projections, actual projections, and strategy for every single slate. We also cover optimal cash plays as well as preferred GPP plays and stacks for specific contest sizes. We do the dirty work for you. We are also currently partnered with Fantasy Cruncher, the best optimizer in the industry. When signing up for our $30 package, you also get a $20 credit to use towards any Fantasy Cruncher product. We provide the best value in the industry. Now let's go ahead and dive right into this NFL Week 4 slate. This is the first look video, which means that we have no ownerships. We just have the raw price tags and over-unders. That's all we have. So hopefully we can pick out some winners here, good GPP plays, and we'll do our best to kind of predict who's going to be the highest owned, who's going to be chalky. Let's actually take a look here at the over-unders very first. I'm only going to go through the relevant teams because, again, they're on the screen, so you guys can pause the video if you want and record them. By the time this video gets uploaded, they probably will be on whatever platform that you use. But starting out here, we have the Chiefs and the Eagles, a very intriguing matchup here. Over-unders at 55, a 7-point spread there for the Chiefs. Scrolling down here, another good game to target is going to be the Cardinals and Rams. I think this is going to draw a lot of chalk just because, again, looking at the price tags beforehand, I think this is a very appealing game to target. 55 over under and a 6-point spread here for the Rams. They're favored at home. We have the Seahawks and 49ers, another good target. That's a bit closer, a 52.5 over under. And then a couple more games here. The Bucks versus the Patriots at home. That's a big game. Just wanted to kind of throw that in there because that's the game you guys have been waiting for. And then last but not least, we have the Raiders and the Chargers.
Hey, Matt.
Yeah, what's up?
Both those games aren't on the slate.
Oh, they are on the slate. That would explain why why you're giving me that weird look. Yeah.
So I thought you were being fresh about the Patriots.
Oh, well,
and
I'm doing a preview for the Sunday Night Football.
That's what
breakdown. So that's what I'm doing.
Better get ahead of the game.
Yes, that's what we're doing. First look for every single game. So let's actually switch over to the main slate here. So those couple games here, the Chiefs and the Eagles, probably the most intriguing out of the slate, and then also the Seahawks, 49ers, and then Arizona and the Rams. Let's now take a look at the pricing here and go position by position. I'm gonna say this, guys, before we jump into this. This is the first time I've been really confused on what direction to go here. I think last week there was two good options that stood out to me. It was Stafford and Herbert, TJ, that we talked about on our first look video. Right. Honestly, don't really know where to start here. We have Kyler Murray that kind of stands out to me here, $7,800, but again, a pay-up option. Obviously, all the pay-up options stand out, every single week. We also have Stafford, who's come up in price tag, $7,000 in that exact same game against the Cardinals. Some cheaper options here. Sam Darnold at $6K. We have Taylor Heineke at $5,900. He has like a floor of 24 points his past two games against a really good matchup here versus the Atlanta Falcons. I feel like you could go so many directions. So I honestly just want to hear it. TJ, let me start out with you. Where are you looking in terms of quarterback? Because there's so many options, so many different directions that you can go.
So I think the one guy that does stand out to me, Matt, and I don't know if the ownership's going to be too high just because of the game script that we're seeing. I think the Bills currently are 17-point favorites, if I remember that correctly. Yeah, they're 17-point favorites at home with an over-under of 48 right now. So a pretty low over-under in terms of NFL scoring and a 17-point favorite. Josh Allen does stand out to me, though, going up against the Texans. Again, I think he's probably going to be more of a tournament play just because of the game script that we potentially could see. But he was absolutely fantastic against Washington. So it's just something to keep an eye on as the week continues. In terms of those games you were talking about, though, Stafford is somebody that I'm going to continue to be interested in. Even at 7K, I think he will be viable in what should be a competitive game there against Arizona, coming off a fantastic game against the Bucks. I know it's a little bit of a different defense that he's going to see and secondary there with the Cardinals than he did just face against Tampa Bay, but I still do like him at that price tag at 7K. Jalen Hertz is another guy that I'm interested in at 6,900 in a game where they should be trailing against Kansas City. Kansas City, guys, 2 straight losses. I mean,
they're trash.
What do we think about them? 1-2, Patrick. Maybe they are trash.
They need Josh Gordon. So
yeah, they do.
I'm so excited about that.
Yeah. Okay. Sweet. Josh
There.
Gordon's going to be there for 3 games until he's ultimately kicked out of the league again
He's
for
gonna have
another
a
year
good
and a
3
half.
games.
And then he'll get reinstated, and then the Rams will be the favorite to win the Super Bowl or amongst the top 3. And then it'll be, hey, Josh Gordon, go get him because he's going to go to the Rams. And then ultimately he'll get kicked again. But no, I hope because on a serious note, I hope Josh Gordon continues to fight that fight with everything that he.
Yeah, I'm not going to listen to slander over the only receiver with back-to-back 200-yard games. I'm not going to. I won't do it.
All right. But yeah, Kyler Murray, another guy. So I think there's going to be a lot of ownership that goes to Kyler. I think you're going to see a lot of ownership go to Matthew Stafford. Jalen Hertz is another guy I think should carry some ownership. I'm interested to see where Josh Allen ends up. And then Jimmy Garoppolo, 5,600. I think that's way too cheap in the matchup here against Seattle. Seattle so far through their 3 games have given up the most yards through the air. So that is something to keep an eye on. And I was very pleased with the performance that I did see from Jimmy against Green Bay. So I think they look to build on that. Obviously a tough loss. But I think those are some guys I'm looking at. And I think those are some guys that are going to carry some ownership.
I agree. I completely agree with that. I think it's honestly going to be a pay up or pay all the way down for quarterback. It's just feeling like that because it seems like the obvious options are in both those directions for me. Kevin, where are you looking? Are you going to Lamar Jackson again? Because I know you liked him last night against the Detroit Lions. He's playing Denver. Russell Wilson, any interest there? Where are you looking?
For cash?
Yeah, well, in general.
Yeah, well, it's just in general. I like Josh Allen. I like what TJ was saying about him too. That was the first one that popped off the board for me, just knowing how much he can get down. What'd you say? He pops? Yeah, he always pops. And, the fact that he did as well as he did I guess he had a rushing touchdown, but he only had 4 attempts for 9 yards and still dropped a 40-burger. I mean, he's absolutely ridiculous. He had a 75% completion percentage. He looked awesome. And this is actually a more favorable matchup. I don't see a world where he doesn't have a 20-point floor in this game.
Yeah. So you like his floor there. Yep. Again, a high pay-up option there. So
if you want to talk ceiling, just drop 40. So, you can't say he doesn't have that too.
Right. How about for GPP? Is anybody else sticking out to you?
There's a couple ones that are like Hertz, obviously. I don't know what his ownership's going to be at 6,900. I can't imagine it's going to be too high, even in a matchup with the Chiefs. I just got a feeling. We'll see how he does tonight. If he drops a dud tonight, that might shake people off him, which would actually help, in my opinion, because it's not going to really sway me off of him. Especially in GPPs where you're taking a little bit of a risk anyway.
Yeah.
I like that, Kevin.
And in the game script where they're going to be playing from behind, like TJ alluded to earlier, let's switch over to the running back picture. And there's quite a few options. Like I just kept seeing and again, it's kind of similar to the last slate where we saw so many mid-range options. We just didn't know where to go. Madison ended up being the chalk for obvious reasons. We're going to see a similar type of picture here with Chubb Hubbard. That's the first guy that's really benefiting from the injury of McCaffrey. Again, we're assuming McCaffrey does not play, should be out for a couple of weeks is what they're saying in reports. So hopefully McCaffrey can get back sooner rather than later. But right now, Chubb Hubbard was that offense in terms of the running back picture when McCaffrey did go out. So we can only assume he's going to see a similar type of role here against the Dallas Cowboys, a very bad defense. $5,900 there for Chubb Hubbard. And like I said, I call him a mini McCaffrey in my TikTok because that's what it seemed like. He was getting all the usage there in the backfield, even getting targets. And that's something you love to see, especially from a DFS perspective. So he sticks out the most to me. I'm not going to go through all these guys because I'm going to end up taking some guys from you, TJ. Chubb is one of them. I know I'm going to steal that one from you. $7,000. His price tag has just been going down, and it's because they have such an elusive backfield. They have so many different options and on offense there with Hunt. Obviously, it was a Hunt-type game last game, so we see Chubb come down $7,000. But against the Vikings, really think he's going to pop. I don't know if he's going to have that much ownership just based on what we've seen with him recently, but at $7,000, he sticks out to me. And one more guy. Again, we're going right back to the well here with the Eagles Chiefs. Miles Sanders has actually been surprisingly involved in the passing game, which is something, again, we like to see here in terms of DFS because it's a PPR type scoring format. $6,400 in a game where they should be trailing from behind. He should be involved in the passing game yet again. So Miles Sanders, $6,400, and there's so many other options that we can talk about. But TJ, I'm going to go ahead and pitch it to you again. What are some options that you're looking at?
So, we kind of talked about this before we jumped into this video. I was going to say stream, but we're not streaming. Derrick Henry, I know Kevin mentioned it as soon as his eyes saw it. 8,800 against the Jets. I think that's an absolute smash spot there. I would assume he would be one of the chalkier plays on the slate, even at that price tag. I know we would assume that this game could potentially get out of hand, but if it does stay competitive, we've seen how much the Titans have relied on him over the last 2 games. 63 total attempts in his last 2, which is just an absolute preposterous amount. So I don't see that trend I see that trend continuing, and especially with the news that AJ Brown should be out or considered week to week now. So I think they're going to rely on Derrick Henry even more. So that game stays competitive. I think he can absolutely smash that price tag. I agree with you on the Chubb Hubbard play, Matt. He's probably going to be the chalkiest guy on the slate in terms of running backs, or up there, if not the chalkiest. I think the workload's going to be there. It's going to be somewhat of a tougher matchup against Dallas. But again, no McCaffrey, and if McCaffrey's out, you got to play Chuba Hubbard, even at that 5,900 price tag. I want to keep an eye on Dalvin Cook, because Alexander Mattinson was an absolute cowbell, whatever you want to call it. He was the absolute man against Seattle. He had 26 rush attempts, Matt. He had 8 targets for 6 receptions. He was completely involved in that offense. He played in, where are you, Mattinson? 68% of the offensive snaps. So he was on there for more than 2/3 of the offensive snaps. So I absolutely love him again at 6,600. Saquon looked really good.
He did.
You guys love Saquon last game against Atlanta. Played 86% of the offensive snaps, so he continues to see a bulk of the workload there for the Giants, and rightfully so. Tough matchup against Saints, so I'm probably off of him, and the price came up. Nick Chubb, I don't know what to do. I talk about him every week, and every week he gets less expensive, and every week he loses offensive snaps to Kareem Hunt. He only played in 49% of the offensive snaps this week. He had 22 attempts against Chicago. It was a tough run defense that he was going up against. He still ran for 84 yards. Like, the one thing that killed him this week was he didn't find the end zone, which he had done in his previous last 2 weeks, and he had the most rushing attempts. So I hope that the trend continues here. I really like the matchup here against Minnesota for Chubb. I keep saying he's going to go for 200 yards. Maybe he actually doesn't do it, and I think the week I don't play him, he probably will do it. But I do like him, Matt. There's a bunch of other guys that I do like as well, but I'm not going to continue to talk, because
we could talk about running back all day.
Yeah.
All right, Kevin, let's hear it. Who's your favorite options here at running back?
Like TJ said, I started with Henry. It just makes sense to me. And I agree with what TJ's saying about Nick Chubb. It's more frustrating than anything. Knowing how talented he is as a runner. I've said this before, and all the Henry lovers are going to hate me for this. I still think Chubb might be the best talent in terms of pure running in football. He's super talented. I'm not worried about
Pro Football Focus actually came out and said that he was really? Technically based on the metrics.
Okay.
Yep.
Just by
that's
metrics.
actually a real thing.
That's okay. I mean, so maybe I'm not too out of line saying that then. Just eye test. You watch him run. He's absolutely electric. He's got so much power, so much speed.
Just
oozes it. Absolutely. Just drenches Matt in it. Like I want to. But what? But the thing is, I just think it sucks that they really do Kareem Hunt as that pass catching back. It just limits his upside. Same with, I don't like the fact that Pollard is getting so many looks away from Zeke in that department. We think of Zeke as a pass catcher, and I think that limits his upside in GPPs. I like what you guys said about Madison. He's amazing. Speaking of Pollard, him and Pollard are 1A and 1B in my opinion, and as the 2 best handcuffs in football that could absolutely start on many teams. Sure. Are very talented. Someone we didn't mention. I mean, I'm going to go with my one I mention every week. Just like Chubb is primed to pop, and he will. He will have his 200-yard rushing. So you like Chubb because what is the pay drop? $600?
Oh no.
Yeah, Chubb was 7,600 when I played him this week. Yep, he is down 600. To 7K. Yep.
So let me speak my piece, and this might be the last time. Jonathan Taylor, 6,300. I know he's going to get a lot of people avoiding him, with Quentin Nelson getting absolutely smoked and being coming off a pretty bad game. But the fact of the matter is, he's someone who's primed to pop. Again, he had 30 to 40 point games last year, all over the place, especially during that second half of the year. He's facing a Miami defense who is bottom 5 actually against the run. As much as they have a good defense, they're bottom 5 against the run, and he's dropped $400 in price tag. So I think he's someone who makes a lot of sense to me for just GPP potential. I don't think he's safe at all at this point, especially with Nyheim Hines didn't take a goal line rush away from him. I think he took it from the 9 or something, or it was a 9-yard touchdown or something. So it wasn't anything crazy. And then the last person, with a CMC out, with Dalvin Cook out, as much as Madison is amazing, he's not as good as Dalvin Cook. I love Kamara here. If you look at Kamara's matchups, I mean, aside from Green Bay, Carolina and New England, very good defenses. And I think people are kind of sleeping on the fact that, he can still absolutely break out he's another person. 40 point games coming. It's not if, it's when.
So real quick side note. I posted a TikTok, and this is relatable, saying that Derrick Henry, if you want to sell high, you're going to do after this 50-point performance, you could probably get the house for him. And somebody in my comment section said there's no deal I would trade for Derrick Henry. And I said, okay, so let's just hypothetically say you get Kamara and Tyreek Hill straight up. He came back. He came back and he said no. And I said, why is that? He said, because
someone said that.
No, he said no.
But Matt
no,
is
listen.
just he's.
No, but listen. And then he said because Kamara is not going to be involved in the offense anymore with Jameis Winston at quarterback. And I said, what, after his 8 carries for 5 yards, you're willing to say that? Okay. And then he just goes out and carries the ball 24 times.
Yeah.
But
I want to just touch base on one more guy that we didn't mention.
Yeah.
7-point road dogs here. The Pittsburgh Steelers going to Green Bay. Green Bay off that obviously awesome win last night or Sunday night, whatever you want to call it, against the 49ers. Najee Harris had 19 targets and 14 receptions in that loss against the Bengals. Like, if this is a game where they're going to trail again and he's going to continue to see the offensive snaps that he played 100% of the offensive snaps in week 1, 95 in week 2, and 95 in week 3. So if they're going to trail in this game, like Najee Harris at 6,800, the price didn't come up that much. If Big Ben's just going to continue to dump it off, he could easily go for 10 plus receptions.
Yeah.
Matt, were you today years old when you found out Najee Harris had 19 targets?
No, I knew he had a crazy amount of targets. I didn't know he had 19
targets. I was today years old. Oh, okay. I knew he had an absolutely unreal game as a pass catcher. I didn't know it was 19 targets.
I know he had a lot of targets because I watched the game, and every play I watched, he was getting the ball. So
CMC status, and you're like, stop.
Yeah.
Stop.
Every play I watched, it was Big Ben just falling over on his own feet in the backfield. And just
or that stupid interception where he threw it like 2 yards in front of him.
Bad. He needs.
Yeah. All right. There's a couple more players I want to talk about, and then we can move on.
Go, Matt. Sonny Michel.
Yeah. Okay. No, David Montgomery versus the Detroit Lions, $5,800 smash spot. Even though Justin Fields doesn't look like he's that good right now. Darrell Henderson also against the Cardinals, $5,600 in that high game total. So love those two. And I think that's it. Oh, Antonio Gibson, I think we already talked about him, though, against Atlanta.
So, Matt, real quick, if Darrell Henderson's out again with the rib injury, do you like Sony Michel at 5,200 in that matchup against Arizona?
I mean, do you? You know more about Sony Michel than I do.
I have thumbs up.
Okay.
Thumbs up. He looked good against the Bucs. He looked pretty good.
Okay.
He's pretty efficient.
And I don't hate it.
I was gonna say, I mean, I don't even think he looked. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think he looked as good against the Bucs. I just think it's more the fact he got 20 carries. Like, that's all I need on the
volume.
That's all I need.
If the Rams are gonna be winning, they're not afraid to give him the ball. So.
All right, moving on to the wide receiver picture, and this is where we're going to talk forever. Let's try to cut it down just a little bit here, but let's just spend this entire section talking about Cooper Kupp. $7,800 against the Cardinals. We said that he should be the highest priced guy on the slate if he's going to continue to get the volume that he has been. Well, he did. He hit the crazy amount of volume yet again. If he does it again this week, I wouldn't be surprised to see him the highest price wide receiver going forward. He's been that impactful. Again, I'm only going to name a couple wide receivers here. If DeAndre Hopkins is good to go, might as well just include that in a game stack. Also, DJ Moore is somebody that stands out to me. $6,600, and the fact that they're going to have to rely more on their passing game without McCaffrey, I really do like him. I feel like he's a fantastic option going against Dallas. That's a huge smash spot. Great matchup there versus the Cowboys at $6,600. And I want to talk about so many players, so I'll just go ahead and pass it back over. TJ, let's go ahead and hear your take here on the wide receiver picture. Some of the players that stick out to you, other than Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, so Cooper Kupp is the one guy, obviously, that sticks out. And I don't know if it's because I love him this week or if it's just because of the presence and where he is in terms of his price, right? 7,800. You get Tyreek Hill, Devontae Adams, Cooper Kupp, D-Hop, Diggs, Justin Jefferson. Like, we're not used to seeing a guy like Cooper Kupp that high.
Yeah.
I think the biggest beneficiary for Cooper Kupp is not only the rapport he has with Stafford, but the fact that he lines up in the slot so much. 75% of his routes are run coming out of the slot, and he just absolutely torches any slot corner that goes in there. It's a tougher matchup here against Arizona, but I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right?
Yeah,
That's
you got it.
say?
Yep.
So, I mean, I still think Cooper Kupp's going to carry some ownership in what could be the highest scoring game that we have on the slate. So, yes, I do like him at 7,800. Terry McLaurin's a guy I'm interested in here going up against that Atlanta secondary. Really poor performance there against Buffalo, only 7 targets. I look for a big bounce back game for not only him, but Washington as a whole. Julio Jones. Now, if this game stays competitive with A.J. Brown out, do we think Julio Jones carries any ownership at $6,500?
I think just because
that's how the game goes, yeah.
Just because of the over-under, I don't know if he carries that much. But
we know not to really look at things in terms of, well, this game's going to blow out. Because how many times have we seen games where we think are going to blow out and then it doesn't actually play out that way?
The only thing I want to say is I don't think in any world, if they're even close to like a decent lead, that they just don't pound Henry every time. It's just so frustrating. As a Julio owner, trust me, I just don't think it. I would love it, but I don't think it happens.
I do think Julio carries some ownership. Especially if AJ Brown sits, and if he's going to be low owned, he's definitely a guy that I'll be overweight on in terms of tournaments going up against the Jets, because again, if that game can stay relatively competitive, I mean, Zach Wilson, the whole Jets offense has been an absolute dumpster fire.
Oh, so bad.
But he is somebody that I'm definitely keeping an eye on there. At 6,500, DJ Moore, Matt, you talked about it. He looked absolutely fantastic. Him and Sam Darnold look to be meshing very well. Robbie Anderson is just he's been deleted from the offense. So yeah, I agree with you there. I think DJ Moore carries some ownership. Trying to find some cheaper guys that I think could potentially carry some ownership as well. Any interest in Odell Beckham, guys?
I like Odell.
5,800, got 9 targets his first game back.
I'm actually sad that you brought him up.
Okay. I mean, Kev, take it away.
No, it's over. It's over.
No, take it away.
I believe in the talent. I think it's still there. A healthy Odell is still a dangerous Odell against a team that you can absolutely throw on with no Landry. So, I mean, it makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, Minnesota's been horrible.
Pretty cheap too.
In the passing game.
Yeah.
Now, I was just gonna say I can't figure out Rondale Moore and Christian Kirk. And I think one of them, again, in this game against the Rams, doesn't necessarily break the slate, but is a very intriguing play. So I'm definitely going to be keeping my eye on those secondary pieces. If D-Hop continues to be a little bit banged up there, I think those secondary guys could have huge games with Kyler.
I think everybody loves Rondale Moore so much. I think Christian Kirk is the obvious pivot there. He never carries any ownership whatsoever. But just speaking my 2 cents. What's that, Kevin? Were you going to say something?
No, I was agreeing with that.
Yeah.
I like that.
But let's go ahead and just pitch it to you, Kevin. Do you see any other wide receivers you want to talk about here from a GPP perspective other than Odell?
There's a couple interesting ones. I like Ridley. He has 29 targets over 3 games. Obviously super favorable matchup. Team just gets shredded left and right. I think it's, the potential's there. Pitts is just not living up to hype. Sorry, TJ. He's just
the offense is more of it.
Washington, Kevin, also, they've given up the second most passing yards.
I love that. Absolutely love that. And I think Ridley is just so tough to, cover in general. So I love that matchup. And he's $7,000. He's same price as last week. Absolutely don't hate that. Who else was I looking at? There was someone else I was looking at. I like the DJ Moore call as a Robbie Anderson owner. It's just, he doesn't exist. He's really not. And then they talked about it. The coaching staff said they want to try to get the ball in his hands more, but it just, again, it hasn't really happened. I'm curious what you guys think about someone like a Michael Pittman. I mean, he's coming down in salary a little bit. They're trying to still find out really where he should lie in salary. He was 4,300, had a boom game, jumped him to 5,500. Now he's back down to 5,400, just a little bit lower. And but he's gotten back-to-back games of 12 targets, which is just crazy. It's a good amount of volume. So do we like him at all, or I mean, we're just going to avoid him? I
mean, I definitely like Michael Pittman. He's going to continue to be that number 1 wide receiver there, but it's do I trust Carson Wentz?
No.
I think that's the big
issue.
Yeah, I mean, 12 targets, 6 receptions. Like you said, Kev, he's had double-digit targets his last 2 games. I think he's going to continue to be a guy that you can play in tournaments, but at that price tag in terms of cash, like he's not somebody that I would feel safe.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
I think
that's it for me for wide receiver.
Okay. I have a lot more that I want to talk about.
I got 1,000 more. Yeah, I want to go, Matt.
All right. Let's see if I miss any of yours.
Let's go, baby. Come on.
So first of all, Brandon Cooks is Cooper Kupp if he had a better quarterback. He would get so many freaking. He would be. I mean, look at his targets, dude. Who's his quarterback? Can you even name him?
He hasn't done this in a little bit here. So
well, I'm just saying, Brandon Cooks is another.
Mills is his quarterback also.
Yeah. Good job. I was just making sure you know.
Davis Mills.
$6,400 for Brandon Cooks. Target monster there versus the Buffalo Bills. So love that price tag for him. Another great option. And why are we not talking about Devonta Smith? $5,700 in the highest game total there. I think that's a fantastic value play. I honestly would not be surprised if he pops to the top there in terms of ownership just because of that price tag alone, especially if he does.
Honest, Matt, I want to wait till tonight.
Really well. I was about to say, if he does well tonight, I can almost guarantee you he's going to pop.
Jalen Reagor has more receiving yards tonight than Devonta Smith.
Reagor is also another one that I was going to touch base on just because, dude, all these Eagles are so cheap. Yeah, I don't understand that. So that's another thing I like. Robert Woods is going to have a game eventually in his life. Soon. $5,300. Again, that price tag, keep taking advantage of it. It's going to happen, I promise. Emmanuel Sanders, guys. Okay, fun fact. Listen. Okay, you're not after the stat. He played the most out of all the wide receivers, including Stephon Diggs. Played the most.
What do you mean most? Snaps?
Snap counts. He was on the field. the most.
I think
That's
the most.
insane.
He had the most heart.
Huh?
I don't know. I don't know what you're saying. He's like, he played the most.
He played the most. He just played the most.
I know. It's just a weird way to put it, but yeah.
He also existed the most too. He caught the most balls. He did everything in that game. So I don't know if that's going to continue. But if he's going to continue to do that, then I love his price tag. It's a very cheap $4,900 price tag. DJ, did I miss anybody?
Well, for somebody that drafted him in season long, Brandon Ayuk. Is Brandon Ayuk back? 86% offensive snaps here that we saw last night against Green Bay.
That's good to see.
5K against Seattle in a game that I'm definitely going to be overweight on. I remember this. I remember this exact situation. I'm pretty sure last year when the 49ers played Seattle, I was so high on Jimmy Garoppolo, and he was absolutely atrocious. Now I need to find it because I'm pretty sure that was actually one of my radio stints. I went on and was so confident about Jimmy Garoppolo, and it was atrocious. Maybe it wasn't. Was it against Arizona? I can't remember what it was, but I'll find it. Yeah, didn't work out. But Ayuk, 5K. I think if he can continue to see 80+% of offensive snaps, like maybe he's out of the doghouse there with Kyle Shanahan. Maybe he's actually fully healthy. Like I don't know what was going on with him in that whole situation. But I do like that stack there of Jimmy G with Ayuk in that matchup against Seattle.
I'm gonna piggyback off that, TJ, because I want to do some research. Because I want to give you some Ayuk credit here. I think he played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 games last year. And I believe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of his 12 games, he cleared 18 points. He's a good player.
Are you saying he's good at football? Okay.
Yeah,
I think he's good at football.
I mean, yeah, I expected big things from him, and it's been a weird first couple games, but it was nice to see him more involved. 6 targets,
a lot more involved.
Got the touchdown. Yeah, I mean, anything was more involved from where he was those first 2 games. So
he's only 5K.
Yeah, only 5K. I think he's an intriguing piece there, and what should be a good matchup.
All right, should we move on to the tight end picture here? I feel like we've talked about a lot of wide receivers, and we could be talking
on one tight end I want to talk about. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, there's only one tight end I want to talk about. It's called Travis Kelsey. Guys, his price tag went down again. Well, what is happening?
He only hit 2.5 times value. I think there were some better plays, but I just don't get
what is happening. Come on.
Honestly,
if you hit 2 times value, you should go down or you should go up in price. That's what happens.
I personally think Derwin James, when he went out, Matt, I said it in Discord.
No,
I said this is Kelsey's now going to become the focal point of the offense with Derwin James out. He was getting. Yeah, he
didn't do much for the first. I thought this was going to be the flop game.
He was staying in check, honestly. And then Derwin James went out shoulder. I don't know if he came back in, but I saw that they actually switched to a zone when Derwin James came out, and then that's when Travis Kelsey just over the middle continuously over and over.
I believe, I could be wrong, not counting postseason, I believe this is 11th out of his last 12 games.
Yeah.
Where he's cleared 20 points.
Yeah. So, I mean, I personally think, I love playing Kelsey every week. I think we might have got a little lucky last week that he got 2.5 times value because Derwin James went out.
We still don't know what would have happened, but yes, I get your point.
Still going to play him. I'm still going to goddamn play him.
Yeah.
You can't tell me not to.
We literally...
You guys remember I said Hawkinson too?
I mean,
he's not Kelsey. No one's Kelsey.
He was so high owned, though, that when you played him, I did the double tight end. I had Kelsey and Hawkinson. I still had a fantastic week. So the fact that he carried all that ownership, really, if there was one guy that was going to burn you last week in cash, it was okay that it was TJ Hawkinson.
That's a great point. Travis Kelsey, we told our Discord to play Travis Kelsey. This is now the 3rd week in the row that we did that, and they finally all listened, TJ and Kevin. And then, look at all the screenshots that came in. That just came flying
in. And it was funny too because early in the game it was like, oh, here's Travis Kelsey,
here we go,
and everybody gets so down. It's like, guys, let the game develop. And then I saw Derwin James go out, and I was like, thank God.
Yeah,
I was like, I don't have to worry about it.
Derwin James is an absolute freak.
Even though we don't like cheering for injuries, TJ, right? We
right.
never
Oh
do that
no. I hope he's Derwin James is a fantastic player. Right. I love watching him play. But in that instance, I was a little happy that maybe he scooted off to the sidelines, and he's gonna be fine. So
I was gonna say you wanted to sit the rest of the game and be fine the rest of his career.
Right
there you go.
Fine. Nothing. No lingering.
I'm just making sure we don't get hit.
Yeah. That's absolutely not.
If I'm playing against him in fantasy, I want torn ACLs all over.
Okay.
That's me.
All right, there we go. There it is. All right, we're waiting for that comment. All right, so just like you, TJ, with Ayuk, you're glad to see him getting more involved in the 49ers offense. Well, guess who I was very excited to see finally get involved in the 49ers offense last night? George Kittle, because I'm a season-long owner. $5,900 $5,500. I think he's finally back on track. He's still been playing the entire game, both games, and he finally got involved. So like to see that. $5,900. TJ Hawkinson's always going to be in the mix. And then everybody else. One guy that stands out to me, Logan Thomas against the Atlanta Falcons. Tyler Higbee, still running a lot of routes there. I like him at his $4,600 price tag against Arizona. I just feel like all the Rams in general are not priced accordingly other than Kupp. So take advantage of those price tags. And then those are my favorite. Kevin, TJ, if you guys want to talk about anybody else, let me know.
I'm just gonna say one person who's sneaky, who's gonna pop, and he's gonna have his 2 touchdown game. And this is the most I've ever seen this person do production wise without a touchdown. He's usually more touchdown dependent, and that's Mark Andrews. He had 109 yards, cleared, 19 points with no touchdown. I mean, that is a very, very. It's good to know he can do that because usually his scoring comes from touchdowns. He has multiple 2 touchdown games last year, and it's gonna come and it's gonna blow up the slate. So at 5,300 especially.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think this is a tough matchup for him. So I think he's gonna come in pretty low owned. So I think he'd be a good spot for tournaments. I think he could have a decent ceiling there. Matt.
Yeah.
Who do you think has played? Actually, I won't even ask you that because you're not gonna guess it. And who would? Logan Thomas has played 100% of the offensive snaps so far this year for Washington.
This year, crazy. not even like missed, over the last week.
Week 1, week 2, week 3. He has played 100% of the offensive snaps. Gross. That is the most among tight ends. There's somebody close to him who would be George Kittle at 98.5% of offensive snaps in an average. And then Tyler Higbee, third, at 90.9% of offensive snaps. Those are the only 3 guys that eclipse the 90.
And I checked them all, Kevin. Not Kevin, okay. TJ. I checked them all. So.
Yep.
I'm looking at his line. It doesn't make sense to his scoring. Did he have a fumble by chance?
I believe he did fumble.
Okay.
Logan Thomas
doesn't mean anything. I was just curious. I was going to me out.
No. Didn't he catch a 2-point conversion?
Oh wait, no. It says right here. He also lost a fumble.
Oh, it was the fumble. Okay.
Right here, yeah.
I thought it was
4 targets, 42 and a touchdown. Also lost a
fumbles. One. Got it. Yes, that is.
Doesn't mean anything. Yeah.
Good job, Kevin. But yeah, play Travis Kelsey.
Moral of the story.
That's really it. I'm not going to talk about.
I'm going to have one more. Pick this person up off waivers, and thank God I have Jonnu Smith.
Wait, Kevin, can I guess it?
Yeah.
You
picked him off waivers?
Yeah, and I have Jonnu Smith, so I was like, thank God, because he sucks. And this person is, I'll tell you this, ridiculously low price tag for recency bias. And
it's either going to be Tyler Conklin or Dawson Knox.
Now, this person probably shouldn't be on waivers. They're about 40%, 50%. Anybody else? Any guesses?
I mean,
historically, has had success as a tight end, or at the tight end position. He wasn't.
Did you just pick him up?
I picked him up before he popped. He was trashy for 2 weeks.
Before he popped this week.
Yes, he was trashy boy for 2 weeks.
This is kind of fun.
Gesicki?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
sir. 12 targets.
Yeah. I just hate.
Wow! Look at the sadness.
No, I just hate Miami.
Whole video.
I just hate Miami.
I was like, Gesicki, you guys
That's
are like,
all.
I drafted Gesicki last year. I was like, fuck yeah, Gesicki. Excuse me. Shit yeah. Damn yeah.
Better.
Gesicki's gonna be dope. And then I just had my putt in my hand. Like, God, why did I draft this ass hat?
Yeah, I hate Miami. I just do.
I mean, listen, I get it, but hey, big factor. I'm gonna Jacoby.
Yes.
Jacoby.
Yeah.
He likes him. That's all you need to know. It's a new quarterback. If
like
there's anything to instill confidence is a new stat line with a new quarterback. And 4K. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Let's I was gonna say let's bring it together. Who are we playing for this slate? We're playing Travis Kelsey in the top 4 options, right?
Travis Kelsey, Mike Gesicki, same level of talent playing both.
All right. Let's move. Okay, good.
Real quick before we switch over, do you guys have any interest in Bruno Labelli?
All right, I'm moving over. Are we moving? Yeah, we're moving. All right. Defense. Let's talk about.
He's like the fourth tight end for the Cardinals.
I didn't even I didn't even care to look it up.
Fighter.
It is.
All right. For defenses, this is a crapshoot yet again. I honestly barely did any research. Let me sort the salary. One team that stands out to me, the Colts versus Miami, because of the low total there, and that should be a horrible game to watch in general.
Should be one that sticks out to you guys. Come on, Matt.
Titans.
No, the Lions.
The Lions. I was just
Justin
going to say
Fields.
that.
The Lions, 2,200. Sorry.
Gosh. All right, good. That's who I was going to say.
Bengals last week, though, boys. Pat on the back there. I know we said Titans, but the Bengals, man, that's who I went with. They were great.
I was going to give you credit if you gave me time.
Yeah, just go. Where are the Packers? How much are the Packers? Because Big Ben, I asked Matt to actually clip it, Kev, of me saying, but how many interceptions is he going to throw? Referring to Big Ben. Going up against the Packers, 3,300. That's my favorite team. There you go. I love the Packers.
Anyone against Big Ben.
They're actually not that much.
Yeah, anybody against Big Ben. That guy is he's falling over himself in the backfield. He's tripping over grass, turf moss God, I'm like, oh, he's probably got ice on. I don't know.
I really did get flashbacks of Blake Bortles watching him, which is very, very sad. So that's how I felt.
Compare Big Ben to the boat.
I mean, I know the Titans aren't a great defense in their 3,900, but I just can't get the Jets out of my head.
The Jets are just.
I can't get Zach Wilson and the picks he threw against the Pats. It wasn't the Pats being a phenomenal defense as much as I would like it to be. It was him playing catch with the cornerbacks, and I don't know.
Yeah,
same thing with Big Ben. All right.
One of the pick he threw to McCourty, it was just that was the worst thing I'd ever seen. Mike McCourty, there was no Jets receiver.
Nobody
like
near
20 yards. McCourty was just like, all right, sick.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
That's it, guys. Are we going to wrap this up?
All right, guys, if you did enjoy this video, please, if you could, go ahead, Matt.
Hit that subscribe button, notification bell, and of course, smash that like button for all of your future NFL content. With all that being said, have a great rest of your night. Let's cash.
We love you guys so much.